Okay, you guys can all hear me okay? Larissa, you're good? Okay, thank you, Larissa. Um, so welcome back into part two. I I am so excited about today because it kind of just like adds on from yesterday. Sorry about my lighting. I know it's kind of funky. It's yeah, it's a weird, kind of a weird backdrop right now, but that's okay. As most of you know, we just moved into a new house and we're still kind of setting up our zone. Okay, so I would love to hear from you guys today in the chat. Did anyone have some big aha moments? Okay, so those of you watching on the recording, I love hearing from you. I've been connecting with some of you last night on Messenger and through email. And I love that you guys are being so diligent at catching the recording and doing the homework and integrating this into your life. Like really, that is where the magic happens. Okay, so you can, I mean, sometimes we come to things like this or webinars or master classes or like take courses or whatever, and we come and we learn, kind of like absorb the content a little bit, but we don't put it into action. So remember yesterday we talked about if we have this awareness now, if we have this new um this new information, material awareness, and we don't put it into action, we are doing ourselves a big disservice, and we're kind of living a little bit, I'm not going to say delusion because I love living in delusion. I love being delusional. But we're living a little bit like we need to be putting it into action is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Hi. Okay. Have fun. Okay. So I'd love to hear if you have had, okay, sorry, the kids and Andy are just leaving. Did you have any moments where you were like, oh, I didn't know I did that? Or as you went throughout your day yesterday, did you become aware of some thoughts that you didn't realize you were thinking? Okay, so your awareness, just by being here, coming to this masterclass, watching live, showing up live, watching the recording, doing the integration homework, your awareness is expanding. Okay, period. It is expanding. Okay, so it's really cool to play with it and kind of like explore a little bit more. Okay, so I'd love to hear in the chat if you want to share, if you had any big aha moments, if you want to share specifically what happened, I would love to hear. This is so fun. I love being curious, right? It's almost like we're constantly committed to expanding our awareness even more, right? Because if we are not experiencing our own ideal, like 100% ideal, we have lack somewhere. We have limitation somewhere, right? Think about that for a second, right? So it's always cool. It's really interesting. I love this. It's kind of like gathering information everywhere we go, anything we do. It's like, oh, I noticed a feeling after XYZ. What is that about? Really, it's very much being a student of our own life and our own experience. So feel free to share. Now that we have this awareness, however, even if it's just simply watching our thoughts and sometimes choosing again, right? Those of you that have been in this material and in my energy for a while, you're getting pretty good at this, right? You're getting pretty good at this, and you can give yourself that credit, right? You don't have to say, I do it sometimes, or like I should be doing it more. I really truly believe that the beliefs we hold, like I posted last night on my social media, like when we have a certain belief, that belief is the thing that is stopping us from moving forward. Okay, so if we believe that, oh, we should be doing more, I'm not good enough, all the things, what are we doing there? We're basically putting up a brick wall in front of ourselves. Okay, and that's not fun. So we can catch ourselves and say, no, the truth is, I'm actually really good at this, and my awareness is expanding in every moment of every day. Okay, I love this. Okay, so Kelty, I definitely realized that I was relying on outside influences or people to be a certain way. And actually, once I shifted that within me, I actually saw a shift in someone else. Yes, okay. Kelty and I were chatting a little bit after the masterclass yesterday, and that's huge. A lot of us, especially, I don't know, I don't want to say like especially women because I don't really have that much of a man's point of view. like I've never experienced being a man, so I can't necessarily say that, but we tend to put it on someone else, right? We're like, oh, I would love my life to be like this, but my husband thinks like this. Therefore, right? And so we put this pressure on an outside source. Instead, what we need to be thinking about and realizing there is that we are the creators of our reality. We create our experiences. We create what other people do. And of course, everybody has free will. Okay, so it's not like we're like voodoo dolling them in our heads. It's not that. Okay, everyone has free will, but to a degree, we can check ourselves. Everything is within us. Okay, so if somebody is showing up in a certain way, what's happening when we're focusing on them not showing up how we want them to, and them negatively impacting us? I mean, it's tricky, right? And so what we can do is shift that energy and focus on us, and focus on holding the space for them, seeing them in a different way, working with the law of assumption, which I believe we're going to talk about a little bit more today, and changing our perspective and our assumptions completely. Okay, so Kelty says, after we talked, my husband came to me and was like, I've been blocked now, but I can see it clearly, and started making plans with me. It was amazing to see how open he was, and all I did was shift my responsibility to myself. Oh my gosh, Kelty, I've got goosebumps. Like that you can't make that up, right? That's incredible. So you really, I mean, law of assumption and shifting our awareness onto us, like nothing else outside of us is needing, it's like living from the inside out versus the outside in, just like we're going to go deep into today. Okay, it's focusing on us. So that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm so excited. Larissa said, aha moment, I'm holding on to the little things that are bothering me with my oldest son. Yeah, and that's parenthood. That's like motherhood. It can be, again, working with the law of assumption. And I mean, there's sometimes that, maybe some people might be like, that's complete, like, that is not, like, this is my physical experience right now, and it's hard, and it's feels like this and this and this, and that's okay. I'm not disregarding it, and I'm not saying it's not hard. Okay, but here we go. Larissa says, and then I'm just catching, just catching myself. Should he be doing things I asked him to stop? No, it's a big deal, and no, he will figure it out. Or sorry, is it a big deal? No, he will figure it out. Yeah, it's kind of like releasing this bit of control. Like, we've also been working together for quite a while. And it's interesting awareness, though. Remember that maybe a previous version of you, 6 months, a year ago, or if you're brand new to this, even like a month ago, wouldn't have realized that there's another perspective. There's another opportunity to see this situation differently, right? So it's so, I believe this material is so valuable. Okay, so thank you guys so much for sharing. So today we're going to be moving into the intellectual mind. So especially those of us who love details, this is going to kind of start to connect the dots so that our conscious mind can begin to accept some new ideas, some new beliefs, some new assumptions, and then we can move it into the subconscious mind. Okay, so we began talking yesterday about living from the outside in versus the inside out. So what does this mean? So remember that we live in a vibrational universe. We attract our experiences based on our vibration, and what determines our vibration? Okay, so our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs, and our actions, I guess, determine our vibration, right? Not so much actions, because it has so much to do with thoughts, feelings, and beliefs before. Okay, so I'm gonna do my best to draw a little picture here. Let me give me a second and see if you can see it, okay? Give me one sec, because I like to be visual, new. Okay, let's see. Let's try this. It's been a while since I've done this. Okay. Alrighty, you guys can see that? You can see it. Okay, thanks, Larissa. Okay, so we're gonna talk about living from the inside out versus the outside in. So I'm gonna do my best to draw, gosh, that's a square. That's a square. Let's do a circle actually. Okay, so here we are, this is us. And I'll use a pen. It's gonna be a little funny. This is a little person, this is us, okay? Got a little skirt on here. Oh my gosh, my drawing's hilarious. Okay, this is us. And so we have things going on. We've got, we've got our kids. Oh my gosh, look at that, that's hilarious. I'm just gonna use shapes, okay? We've got our money, we've got our, our money situation, we've got our, what else influences us on the outside? Like all the things that we need to do, all the whatever, like everything going on outside. Okay, our situation. Remember yesterday I shared a little bit about, this drawing's hilarious. I shared a little bit about my own past experience and how if I would have lived from that place, my now experience would be different. Okay, so here's all these things going on. Have you ever seen that kind of picture or meme of that mom who has like a kid on her hip, a coffee, like a phone on her thing, like everything going on? So that's how I feel this is, okay? So we have a choice. We can allow all of these things in the outside world to impact our thoughts, our feelings, and actions, or we can move out of the 3D world. So this is what I call the 3D, is this physical reality. Remember, it's a manifestation of our past thoughts, beliefs, and actions. Okay, so we can choose to fully exist and be, I don't love to use the word victim because I feel like it's very heavy. It's very intense, but we can choose to be a victim of our circumstances. Okay, and maybe it's good that it feels intense because it can be intense, right? It can be intense. If you're in a situation that is, it's really hard to see past it and it's not enjoyable, it's very heavy and, not a nice place, it can be kind of difficult to see past it, okay? And I want to say that, I get it, and I've been there, right? And it is possible to see past it. It just takes a little bit of maybe inspiration and support and community to help you to see something different. Just like I said yesterday, I had this, for me, it was a business opportunity that showed me money in a different way and how I could move out of lack and limitation and into something that I wasn't aware of before. Okay. So this is living in the 3D. This is living from the outside in. Okay, but what if we could live from the inside out? Oh gosh, how do I undo? I cannot draw a circle apparently. It's hard on the keyboard of the Mac computer, Okay, so here we are living from, look at that, I'm getting better already. There we are. Okay, so what if we can dream? This is going to be a dream bubble. It's like we're in like kinder. I always think it's up here. Okay, so this is the 4D. It's the imagination. It's what we've been taught to not use, right? A lot of us have been taught our entire life to stop dreaming, be happy with what you got. Like we talked a lot about this yesterday. So what we're going to work on here is creating a new image in our 4th dimension. This is our 4D. Yeah, okay. 4D, this is our 3D physical. I don't know if this is helping at all, but I find like just even like funny little drawings like this, it's kind of easier to kind of see, okay? So what if we can create an idea in our imagination and exist from there? Okay, that's what we're going to do today. That's what we're talking about here. And so our current situation, our current beliefs, our current feelings, thoughts, actions, they create the results. Okay, I had a conversation last night from someone who's watching the recording, talking about money and business and finances and things like that. And it was really interesting because if we we've started with the awareness. Yes, that's great. But if you only watched yesterday's masterclass and just focus on, okay, this is my awareness, and you don't learn the piece of the intellectual mind and the power within us, and you don't learn the piece of living from the inside out, that fourth dimensional existing, you're going to create more of the same, right? If you're asking, how can I make money from your current situation, for example, first of all, money is a whole nother story, right? Which I'm going to teach a masterclass on money, probably maybe in December or January after I finish this course. And I mean, already things are happening in my own world. So, excuse me. Does that make sense? If we're operating from our current 3D, we're going to come up with ideas that are in alignment with that current 3D, right? So everything along the way has a vibration. So if we, however, could create this new idea in our fourth dimension, and again, remember, it takes some practice sometimes to allow ourselves the ability to dream, to allow ourselves the ability to believe in ourselves, all right? So if we can create this new idea and then act in the assumption of that, okay, we're going to talk more about that. So I want to give you guys another example, and it might resonate with some of you, it might not. Okay, it resonates with me because this was my past story. Somebody who is struggling financially and doesn't understand the concept of money being a non-physical, spiritual idea that is meant to flow to and through us, and money must be in circulation. If somebody does not understand that, which most people don't, which is why I feel called to teach a masterclass on it, I know from experience that when money is lacking, we spend majority of our time thinking about money, right? Anyone resonate with that? Like we spend most of our time thinking about money and how it's not there. What does that do? It creates more of the lack. So everything we do in that situation is impacted by this thought and this belief that money is limited, that money is a problem, that money is hard to come by, that money is, we need to work hard for it. All of these beliefs, interesting, right? All of these, I used to say programs, all of these like kind of beliefs that we've adopted from our own life experience, maybe people that were significant to us, impacted us in that way because that was their beliefs. So all of this is awareness. Unpack it, okay? So everything we do is impacted by that thought and that belief. So what ideas is somebody who is existing in lack and limitation going to have? I know from experience, not very nice ones, not very creative ones. You're like thinking from lack and limitation, from struggle, from stress, from, like this need. And remember yesterday we talked about like, I don't need you. I would love you though. I would love to spend my life with you. I'd love to have more of you in my life. It's that energy. Okay. So in this situation, it's not very creative. It's not very expansive or, abundant. So what if we shift our attention and awareness to gratitude? I know sometimes it's hard to hear that and hard to even like possibly do that. But there's always a way. If there's a will, there's a way, right? What if we turned it down to gratitude and onto possibilities, onto like, ooh, what if? I love that question. What if it was possible? What if this doesn't need to continue to be my situation or experience? What if I can move out of this? Whatever it is. I love that what if, because it kind of like it's playful with the mind and it helps us to, kind of open up a little bit more. Okay. So what if, like I said, it might not be easy right away, but I know all about this. I know all about this. And it's totally possible with the support, the inspiration. And again, I'm totally speaking from personal experience. It's possible. Okay. But first we need to become aware of our perceived limitations, these beliefs, and constantly stretching and growing this awareness. Okay, so what if we begin to build the awareness and the image of something different for ourselves? This is living from the inside out. And this is what a lot of people don't know about and don't understand. So yes, like Kelty mentioned yesterday, when she talks to other people about what she's up to, they kind of have this like, kind of like I mentioned as well, like how, or like, what do you mean? you're crazy. Just be happy with what you've got. Like, sorry, but like, I don't need your input, right? So it's okay to not tell anyone. And I think that that is honestly the beauty of community. And what I am building here with Rise Academy and with Proximity, or inner circle group, is that, right? And Larissa kind of knows about that. It has been in the growth stages over the past 3 months while we've been traveling, but I'm so excited to share more about it tomorrow. And I really do feel like that is such a beautiful thing when we have like-minded people around us, so we can dream and we can encourage each other to dream. That's where the magic happens. Because I'm pretty sure all of us have had a situation where we have these beautiful ideas and we have these dreams and these, we're expanding, we're kind of like hanging out in our fourth dimension in our imagination, and we have no one to talk to. Or we tell our spouse and they're like, yeah, are you sure? And whatever. I kind of say, like, don't, unless you're 100% committed and convinced, you don't need to share it. You don't need to share it. How do you know you're convinced of something? And remember yesterday we talked a little bit about beliefs. So if we have the ability to believe something new and create something new in our fourth dimension, in our imagination, and we can convince ourselves that it's real, it will manifest by law. It will come into our physical world. We know that. And the bridge of incidents will unfold exactly as it's need to, if it's as it's meant to, right? So how do we convince ourselves? We convince ourselves of it being, how do we change that belief? We convince ourselves that it's real, right? The kids are outside yelling at me. Okay, so what are we convincing ourselves of right now? What are we convincing ourselves of right now? That should be one of the questions on the integration homework, but it's not. Right? I want you to ask yourself that. What am I convincing myself of right now? Am I convincing myself that this 3D reality is my whatever, is like my karma, or is my experience? Okay. Or am I convincing myself that there's more? Am I convincing myself that, XYZ, fill in the blank? We can convince ourselves of anything, period. Anything. Absolutely anything. Okay. Convincing ourselves, I used to say brainwashing ourselves into thinking differently, right? Brainwashing ourselves into thinking differently is basically acting, in the assumption that it's already there. Sorry, Azzy, you're really distracting. You're very distracting. Okay, so what if we allow ourselves to release the perceived control we think we have, right? What if we allow ourselves to just let go and stop figuring everything out? We have this desire, we have this burning desire within us for our life, our situation, our, XYZ to be different. What if we allow ourselves the space and, just release, let it go, let it go. Excuse me. I want to add in here, sometimes people interpret this to be just like, let go and go with the flow. I actually was chatting with somebody who was on live with us yesterday about this, and she said, I'm like basically, this is not her own words, I can't remember exactly the words. It's like, I'm like the queen of letting go. I have no clue what I'm up to. I'm just floating around. More or less. She said something like that. Okay, it was something different. And it was so interesting to me because I used to be there. I used to live my life like that, leave it up to the universe and it'll happen perfectly. I don't know where I'm going, what I'm doing, but I'm just going to leave it up to the universe. Okay. And now that I have this awareness, it's actually kind of funny. Be careful. They're riding in the quad is pulling the trailer and the kids are riding in the trailer. Anything goes here in Costa Rica. Oh my goodness. So now with the awareness that I have, it's kind of funny because I feel like I might have manifested that car crash. Okay, that car crash I told you about that kind of like made me make a decision, because I used to always ask for signs from the universe to help me to decide, which I don't know how I feel about that now, to be honest. I think now I don't ask for signs of needing to decide, whether or not I should decide on this or not. I decide because I now realize that I am the one creating my experience, me. Okay, I am the creator. I am one with the universe. If I don't know what I want, how is the universe going to give it to me, going to deliver? How is God, creator, source, universe going to bring it to me if I don't know what I want? Okay, so instead of asking for signs, we make a decision. We make a decision and then we release it. And this is when I love looking for signs. I call it signs of land. Okay, it's signs of land showing me that my manifestation, showing me that my desire is on its way now. Okay, I want to add in something here about vision boards, goal setting, manifesting, how most people see it. Okay, most people kind of have this something that they're longing for. It's something that's outside of them. Maybe it's a vision board and you put up the pictures on there and you look at it and you're like, oh, you know, one day that car is going to be in my driveway, you know, one day. And it's the separation. Okay, maybe that one day does come sometime, you know, maybe it doesn't. And I do know from my own experience and working with a lot of people, I do know that the most of the experience, not the dominant experience, I guess, is that it doesn't really come. But some people it has, and that's amazing. Okay, what I can probably assume happened there is that you embodied the feeling and the version of you. You became the version of you that has that. Okay, so see how there's this, we go from separation into embodiment, an assumption that that is mine and it's coming now. Okay, it's here for me now. Okay, so I love signs of land because it's kind of an opportunity to celebrate. It's an opportunity to kind of raise our vibration. Because if our tendency, most of us, if not all, our tendency is to look for ways it's not working out. Have you done that? So bad, right? Like how awful, how like self-sabotagey, right? So instead of our default, and remember, like, it's okay to think thoughts like that. It's okay to have lack and limitation show up in our thoughts, but it's up to us to catch them and choose again. Okay, so we don't want to be all like down on ourselves. Oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not doing this right. No, it's becoming aware of them because you weren't aware of them before. Interesting, right? And so I think that, you know, signs of land is an opportunity to switch the perspective, switch the awareness, and start to look for things that are working out. And it can be anything. It can be, you know, I always say, like, there's no such thing as coincidence. Like, everything happens by law. Everything happens as it's meant to. And so when I see things, you know, numbers in sequence, I see things that remind me of the desire. I'm like, oh, there's a sign of land, and I get so excited. And what does that do? My vibration rises, right? I attract from a different place and I start to see more and more. And it can be also through other people, right? Them manifesting, and you're like, oh my gosh, see, this does work. This works. Okay, so I want you guys to try that as well, as look for signs of land. Look for signs of land, okay? So going back to that conversation that I was just talking about making a decision and then letting the universe lead, that is this, like, I don't need you energy. I don't need you, but I would love you in my life. So we come back to gratitude for what we have now, and gratitude and kind of like looking for signs that that it is working out. Okay, so anyway, what if we decided on our set desire, our outcome, our experience, and we decide that we're here for more, that is valid to us, that is ours, and we act in the assumption of said desire. Let's talk about law of assumption, because I know some of you guys here are new and new to this work specifically. Who is familiar with the law of assumption? Law of assumption. It is one of the laws of the universe. It's an absolute law, which means it is as relevant and as real as the law of gravity. Okay, it doesn't matter that we don't understand how gravity works. It's working all the time. It's always working. Okay, Whether we believe in it or not, it's working. And so with the law of assumption, this is one of my favorite laws. This law basically states that what one assumes to be true will be the experience. So this can get kind of sneaky, right? It can get kind of sneaky because there's always an underlying kind of a sponsoring thought, like we talked about yesterday, right? So we've all experienced the law of assumption in action, but most of us are doing, I guess we're assuming what we don't want. Okay, I want to hear, has anyone ever said, I knew that was going to happen? Have you said that? I knew that was going to happen. Oh, well done. You manifested it. Okay, you did that. Okay, so why are we so good at manifesting what we don't want? Why are we so good at it? Because there's less resistance. There's no resistance, even sometimes. There's less resistance. We've been so accustomed to living that way even. Okay, so from living from the outside in is identifying through our current situation, being even a victim to our current situation. And most people assume from this place as well. Okay, so just kind of like check in with yourself. Do I assume based on this? And I can use Kelty as an example, assuming her husband was thinking and acting in a certain way, that wasn't necessarily how she envisioned or how she wanted him to act, okay? Let's just say that. But then she shifted her awareness, she shifted her assumptions onto herself and began to assume something different. What happened? She had a completely different experience. So beautiful, right? So living from the inside out is completely different. We can use our unique creative abilities to create anything. So the change was pretty much immediate too. Seriously, I'm over here cheering you on. That's amazing. That's how it is. And when we develop these new, now we have this awareness that, oh my gosh, I can change my thoughts and then things happen instantly. That's a beautiful belief to have, because sometimes when we're manifesting or we're, and vision boarding as well, it's like something is going to happen in the future. No, it can happen now. It happens now. It's instant. I want to give another quick example of this is, if you wake up and you're having like a kind of shitty morning and your energy's off and what happens? We attract more opportunities to be upset. Our kids start acting like, what? And, things start happening. We lose the car keys, we're, whatever. It's instant. Energy is instant. Okay. And energy also is, what was I going to say? Thoughts. What's the word I'm looking for? Thoughts are the most powerful energy there is. And thoughts can penetrate all time and space. I forget who says that, probably Einstein or something. But it's true. Have you ever thought of somebody and then, seconds later, they call you or they message you or you see them on the street? Isn't it cool? So this is the oneness that we're talking about, right? Yesterday, we talked a little bit about that. So we have the ability as human beings to create. We can create anything. Everything we see in our outside physical 3D world was created by somebody. It started as an idea. Did it evolve? Maybe, for example, this insulated Vaso cup, it did not start as this. It started as probably a coconut shell. It started as this hey, I'm tired of drinking water from my hands. I'm gonna, why don't I just have this thing to put it in? Okay, and then it evolved. So sometimes we get stuck when we're creating because we don't think it's good enough. We don't think it's it doesn't compare. But we need to remember that every idea starts somewhere. Okay, it starts somewhere. So we don't know how to change or how to grow this idea until we start it. Okay, and so we're really good at creating. We create all of the time. And if we don't, like we talked about yesterday, we start to disintegrate. We start to feel kind of we're kind of dying a little bit. We are creative beings. And so some of us might say, I'm not very creative. not really good at creating. I'm not, you know, that is a belief that is not serving you. We are so dang good at creating. And so you can reprogram that and say, the truth is, I am a brilliant creator. I'm so good at creating. And maybe you won't see that in your physical 3D reality right now, but the more you can convince yourself of that being true, guess what's going to happen? You're going to realize that you are really good at creating. Okay. So I want to give the example here. I don't know, maybe you guys saw the other day, I posted on my stories on social media about a chicken. I live in a neighborhood here in Costa Rica that is very rural, like very rural. Okay, I think there's more chickens and dogs than people, which there's also a lot of people. Okay, so that's interesting. The roosters are kind of driving me crazy. You're getting used to it. Okay, getting used to it. So the chicken the other day, it was pouring rain outside and the chicken is standing in the only dry little corner. It's in our yard, first of all. I'm like, how'd you even get in here? They fly over the fence, the gate. And he's standing in this tiny little corner of this only dry area around by our shed. And I'm sitting there watching him, like he's all like, even his chest is like pulled up. He's just standing there. It's actually hilarious. I'll post it again. I think it's so funny. Anyway, it had me thinking how amazing it is to be a human. Like that chicken is not thinking about, as far as we know, anyway, he's not thinking about, I should build a house. You know, I next time it rains, I'm gonna have my house built, I'm gonna be dry and I'm gonna be warm and I'm gonna build myself a bed. Like maybe they have this instinct to kind of nest. Yes, I get that. But I don't think the chicken, like I see the chickens like sleeping out in the trees here. Did you guys know that chickens sleep in trees? Like they climb, I'm not sure how they even get up there. She's like, I felt bad for that chicken. I did too, but I was like, oh, what a blessing it is to be a human, you know, and you see the horses and the donkeys and the cows standing on the field. And I'm like, oh man, sometimes my son says like, I wish I was an animal. I wish I was a bird, you know? And I'm like, I kind of like try to show him this beautiful opportunity we have as humans. We have this intellect that animals do not have. Okay. So anywho, any idea held on the screen of the mind, the fourth dimension with absolute emotion will manifest into the physical reality by law. That's a quote by Bob Proctor, more or less. I kind of added a couple words in there. That can be truth for us if we believe it can be truth. Okay, those absolute laws are always working around us. Most of us are using them against ourselves, like the law of assumption, like we mentioned. So we are idea machines, right? But first we need to remember how to dream. We need to remember how to dream. We need to release our limitations first. So Lynette said this morning, I found a photo from an event 40 years ago. It brought a screen of emotion to my mind. And then back then we had so much fun, happy memories. And then it created a desire in me. I sent this photo to 5 of my friends and wonderfully enough, we are still friends in contact. So nice. So my idea is now in my current awareness and I feel the vibes and energy working already. Isn't it beautiful? So cool. Love that. Thank you for sharing. So we can go to any space, any state in our imagination, and we can choose what we do from there. Okay. So when we create the idea in our fourth dimension, in our imagination, we get emotionally involved with it and we act in the assumption of what's going to happen. What ideas are we going to have? How are we going to feel? What thoughts and will be dominant? What thoughts will be dominant when we're in that energy, when we're in that vibration? And then which action are we going to take? It's a completely different game. Completely. Okay, so when you're thinking of your manifestation, ask yourself, or your desire, yeah, good to see you, Larissa, see you tomorrow. When you're thinking from your current 3D reality, I can pretty much guarantee that your desire is like this compared to what it could be. Okay, so let's build the desire in our fourth dimension and work and live from there. Okay, in alignment with the law of assumption, using it well to our advantage. Okay, so I always say that in our community, we hang out in the illogical, non-linear timeframes. This is delusion is the solution, is another way of putting that, right? It's okay to be delusional, and I actually encourage it. Dream bigger. Doesn't matter what the outside world says. Doesn't matter what mom was going to say. Who cares, you know? And through our actions, through our assumptions, we then shift our outside experience, our 3D experience. Amazing, amazing. Okay. So I do want to say sometimes there is a bit of a lag. Okay. Do we want to believe in this lag? It's up to you. Okay. A lag meaning that there is a little bit of a, like a growth period sometimes. Okay. Have you ever experienced this where you have had a desire? You held the image, nothing was happening. You're excited and you're like, oh, it's happening. And then you're like, it's not happening. And then everything around you was like, it's not happening. And you begin to like self-sabotage. And then what happens? So, sometimes, I'm just going to put this in for Diane. I think, add in the word absolute, but if you Google it, Bob Proctor is amazing. Okay. So sometimes what can happen here is we derail ourselves and we stop this bridge of incidents from continuing. So it's very, very important. Again, community support comes in like really, really potently here, right? But if we convince ourselves of anything, we need to remember that it is happening, right? It is happening, and we can have that faith. Faith is a big one. Faith, it can be faith without religion, right? It doesn't need to be believing in something outside of yourself. It's faith that it's happening. It is happening. Yes or yes. Okay. So we have, just under 10 minutes or just over 10 minutes left. I'd love to lead you guys through a little tapping session to move some energy. Okay. And hopefully release any resistance. So if you would share in the chat, what do you believe is holding you back or in between you and your desired life, your desired experience? What do you believe, if anything is clear here, what do you believe is in the way? Okay. Feel free to share their health. Okay. Okay. So those of you that have never experienced tapping before, you're basically just going to continue after me. Okay. Simon says, we're going to be tapping on acupressure points on the body, and I will totally lead you through it. You just copy what I'm doing, say what I'm saying. Okay. And it's a beautiful way to shift our awareness. I want you to get a pen and paper close, really close, because we're going to be asking ourselves some questions here as we're tapping. And stuff comes up when we get quiet and we open ourselves up to receive. Magic happens. Beliefs passed down from generations. Okay. Love that awareness. Love it. Okay. So when you're ready, sit comfortably. You can sit tall in your chair or wherever you're sitting. Roll the shoulders up and back a couple times. Just take a breath. Allow your shoulders to drop down. Take another breath here and just settle in. You can close your eyes if you like. Just tuning into your body. And I want you to bring that perceived limitation to the screen of your mind and feel how it feels. You might notice a part of your body where you feel like you're holding this belief. Take a breath, just noticing what's happening, noticing if there is a place in the body that you're holding on to this belief, this pressure. Okay. Observing it. And if you can, give it a number of severity. So how intense is this feeling? Give it a number just to become aware of it. Okay, and you might want to write that down because you might forget. Okay, and when you're ready, open your eyes. We'll begin with tapping on the side of the hand. Doesn't matter how fast or hard you tap, just tapping on the side of the hand. Okay, and then repeating after me. Even though there's part of me that wants to experience something different from my current reality, For some reason, I feel resistance. This resistance is showing up in my body. I can feel it in my, fill in the blank. Where do you feel it? And it feels about fill in the number. How does it feel? How severe? You continue tapping on the side of the hand and say, I would like to become more aware of this resistance. And discover any old expired beliefs that might be limiting me now. Even though this resistance is currently present and I can feel it in my body, that's okay. I deeply and completely love and accept myself as I am today. Okay, let's go to the top of the head. And say, I desire a change in my 3D world. Eyebrow point, but there's something holding me back. Side of the eye. Is it fear? Under the eye. Is it the belief that I'm not good enough? Underneath the nose, or that I don't know enough? Under the mouth, is it beliefs passed down from generations? Collarbone point, is it my perception on my health? Underneath the arms, kind of like the side of the ribs. I'm curious and open to learn more about this resistance now. Underneath the chest, like there's like kind of spleen area, I think. Where did these beliefs come from? Wrist point. Why am I choosing to hold on to them? Go back up to the top of the head. I can feel this heaviness in my body. Eyebrow point, this pressure that feels like, fill in the blank. Side of the eye, it does not feel good. Under the eyes, and I do not want to continue carrying it with me. Underneath the nose, I am becoming more aware of my ability to shift this. Underneath the mouth, I want to let go of these doubts, these worries, these old beliefs. Collarbone point, so I can move closer to living the life I know I'm here to live. Under the arms, I am ready to stop reliving these old patterns. Underneath the chest, I know they are not serving me any longer. Wrist points, I am open and ready to become a new version of me today. Continue on the wrist, and I am ready to release and let go of the past. Okay. Take a breath. You can close the eyes, tune in. You might feel the body with a different vibration. There might be some emotion that comes up for you. How are you feeling? You can write it down if you want to. Usually what happens after the first round, we're going to do 3, by the way. The first round is kind of just becoming aware. Okay. And I kind of do tapping my own kind of way. Relax. That's good. Okay. The first one, like in my own perspective, I don't like to focus a lot on what's not working, right? I like to, we can acknowledge it, but let's let it go. The more we focus on it, it expands. Okay, so this is a little bit different than maybe other tapping practitioners do, but this is the way I teach it. Okay, so feel free to write anything down. If you want to pause on the replay, do it. Write down like what came up for you. What do you believe? And this is like direct conversation with, I believe, your subconscious mind. It's like, is it fear? Is it the belief that I'm not good enough? Right? Where does this come from? Yeah, there we go. So Lynette has the awareness, because Lynette's actually like a certified tapping practitioner. She has the awareness that I need to continue the venting stage. That's what she calls the first one. So that's beautiful awareness. I love that. So if we were working one-on-one, then again, we would do more of that first and kind of like unpacking it and trying to not so much understand it, but become aware of it. All right. Brilliant awareness. I love it. So round 2, let's take a breath, connect back in. Round 2 is the forgiveness stage. So we're going to start to forgive ourselves. And again, these are just like shorter tapping sessions because we are a little bit shorter on time. All right, so again, tapping on the side of the hand when you're ready. We're going to start to move this through the body and say, even though I was holding on to this resistance, to these old expired beliefs from my past or my present, I would love to shift them. I would love these experiences to no longer be part of my world. I am ready to move towards the life I know I'm here to live. And even though I've been carrying these beliefs and unconsciously reaffirming them to myself often, I'm ready to forgive myself. I'm ready to stop existing in this lack and limitation. So I can open up to all the possibilities available to me now. I am so proud of myself. And I have so much gratitude for this new awareness. Let's go to the top of the head and say, I am now aware that I've been carrying so many old expired beliefs with me for too long. Eyebrow point. These beliefs that I now see have not been serving me one bit. Side of the eye. I am ready to forgive myself and move on. Under the eye. I give myself permission to let them go. Under the nose, I forgive myself for believing that I am limited in any way. Underneath the mouth, I forgive myself for believing I'm not good enough or I don't know enough. Collarbone point. I forgive myself for putting the blame on other people. Under the or side of the arms, I forget the name of that. I forgive myself for fill in the blank. Customize it. Wrist point. I feel lighter. Top of the head, I feel happier. Eyebrow point, I feel like so much stress has been released from my body. Side of the eye, I feel so grateful for my past and my present. Underneath the eyes, and everything I've been through up until now. Underneath the nose, but I am ready to heal and move forward now. Underneath the mouth, I feel so excited to create from this new awareness. Collarbone point, feels like a breath of fresh air. Underneath the arms, I am so excited for where I'm going. Underneath the chest, and I know that I'm exactly where I need to be. All right, take a breath when you're ready. Notice how you're feeling. I want you to bring the awareness after you journal, write down everything that came up for you. I want you to bring the awareness back to that number. If you chose a number, if you had this feeling of tension or stress in the body, how does it feel now? Do you have some sort of a movement? Has anything shifted? Do you feel do you honestly feel like a breath of fresh air? Okay, sometimes what will happen, especially in this round 3, is like Lynette said, if you're not really truly ready to forgive, or you're not ready to believe a new thought, you will have your subconscious mind right away be like, nope. That's why affirmations sometimes are not very effective, because we're kind of affirming the opposite. So if we're saying, I feel lighter, I feel happier, and inside you're like, I feel like, no, we're kind of affirming the opposite, because that subconscious is still really loud. So anyway, it's really good awareness, because what you could do from there is then kind of either go to something that feels like it's more relatable, or change the belief. Okay. All right, Lynette says, feeling like it's doable, and I'll go back journal, get more out of it, and tap more. Yes, love that. You're amazing. Okay, let's do some affirmations, my favorite part. Sorry, you guys are running over a few minutes. Well, kind of, because we started at 5 past. So anyway, let's tap again on the side of the hand. Take a breath. And let's say, I now see that I have been holding on to so much. Hey, Dan, so good to see your face. And it feels amazing to have finally given myself permission to release. I feel light. I feel renewed. And I feel very excited for what I am creating. So the top of the head, I have completely grown my awareness. Eyebrow point, I am not who I was before. Side of the eye, I've grown, I've changed. Underneath the eyes, and the people around me are starting to notice. Under the nose, I am so proud of myself. Underneath the mouth, and the commitment I have to better myself. Collarbone point, and to create a grander life for myself and my family. Underneath the arms, I am open and ready to receive. Underneath the chest, everything I desire is on its way to me now. Wrist point, I actively and consciously choose to exist in spirit. Top of the head. And it feels incredible. Eyebrow point. The perfect people, experiences, and opportunities show up exactly as they're meant to. Side of the eye, I feel immense gratitude for my life and everything I've experienced up until now. Underneath the eyes, I know so much more greatness is on its way to me now. Underneath the nose, and I am open and ready to receive. Okay, take a breath. How do you feel? You might feel a little like vibrating. Okay, let me know in the chat if this is your first time tapping as well. I didn't ask that before. So write down everything that's come up for you, how you're feeling, how is that number, how is that resistance that you previously felt. Okay, so maybe you've had some shifts, maybe you've had some aha moments, maybe you have a different level of awareness now, right? Again, if there was resistance on anything I had said, I encourage you to unpack it. Like, why is it not true? Why is it not true? Why does it not feel true? Interesting, Lynette. Okay, awesome. Kathy, feeling really connected to myself, more aware of my beliefs. Then it said I'm ready to rethink this. Okay, it's awesome. Yeah, I love tapping, feeling more released and alive. Amazing, isn't it just like so energizing, right? It's so energizing for me. Sometimes if we're in kind of fight or flight, we're in this like go, 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 and then we're tapping, it shifts us like boom into this like rest and restore, into the subconscious, kind of like such a different energy, right? So sometimes we'll get lots of yawning when this happens. We're shifting our emotional state. So good. Okay. So again, if our subconscious doesn't believe something, it's hard for us to embody it. So this is really, really powerful awareness. But if we can believe that we can change a belief in an instant, we can let go of these old ones and adopt a new belief. Okay, we don't have to figure it out, you know? So the thing is that the conscious mind has the ability to accept or reject the conscious mind, right? The conscious mind can accept or reject. That's like the beginning of this masterclass. Yesterday, I asked you guys to not, just stay open to the possibility. You don't have to accept or reject, but just stay open, right? What happens when our conscious mind accepts a belief is our subconscious mind, it enters the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind has no ability to reject. Okay, so if we can't relate to something, our conscious mind won't be able to accept it, and therefore our subconscious, our emotional mind won't be able to relate to it. Okay, this is a little bit deep if you're newer around here. So the thing is that most of us go around through our day accepting everything as truth. But the beautiful thing is, being a human, we have the ability with our conscious mind, it's kind of like a filter. We get to filter, we get to choose what we accept as truth. So next time you open up social media and you're scrolling, are you going to accept that as truth, whatever you see there? Or are you going to reject it? Same as the news, how does it make you feel when you accept it? You accept that that person's life looks a certain way and it makes you feel a certain way. Okay, keep that in mind, that we have the ability to accept or reject. And if we are accepting directly into our subconscious, our emotional mind, and we'll start to embody it. Maybe people, or maybe you can recognize that you might be this person who gets emotionally involved with the news or with shows. I don't watch like TV, movies ever. I just don't. And if the children have, a little show on or something and I watch it, I get so emotionally involved, like emotionally worked up about it that I'm like, I just can't. I can't. I don't know if that's because I'm not strong enough yet, or if like my awareness is there that I now see that, holy moly, I'm like living in that show. Okay. And sometimes that happens to me with music as well. Guilty too. So I just like, no, I don't need it. So music, I'm very sensitive to music as well. And I'm not sure if it's since I got more into this material and listening and becoming more aware of my mind. Sometimes Andy will have music on, my partner, and I'm like, I like can't even think of anything else other. I'm like in the song. It's so strange. So anyway, to wrap up for today, I want you guys to do the integration homework as soon as possible. I'm going to again grab the link, hold one moment, for the homework today. So those of you that are on live, you can jump right in. You don't have to wait for me to send out the email. Those of you on the recording, I really truly believe that it's so powerful to do the integration homework as soon as you can, even as you're going through the recording, because you're in a different vibrational state. Yeah, you're in a different vibrational state. There we go. If I watch the news, it takes me days to release the negativity. Yes, okay. So the thing, sometimes maybe people like this, but they like relive the news. Like they feel the need to like tell everyone about it and like talk about it all the time. And like, I get that. And like, there's some pretty severe, like, in my opinion, ridiculous, awful things happening in the world. And when we embody that, what does that happen? What happens? And what good is that to our world? That's my point of view of looking at it, right? Instead, how can we, instead of embodying it and watching it, we can become aware of it. Yeah, we're aware of what's happening in the world right now, but we can choose to stay in the positive, in the light, and hold that space and spread that, right? So I don't know, my opinion, the kids are watching a cartoon, I had to leave. It was so upsetting. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Oh my gosh, me too. Hilarious. My goodness, it's all awareness. Right? It's all awareness. Okay, so let's wrap up. I just put the link to the part 2 integration homework in the chat there. Tomorrow, I'm going to lead you through a future self visualization. So this homework is going to be super relevant for you to just create a lot more clarity on what your intention is, what your kind of, not, I don't like to use the end result or end goal, but that like future vision as far as your awareness can currently perceive to be possible, or even not possible. I want you to get really clear on that. It's like gathering more information, building a greater level of awareness about your desire so that the visualization can be even more powerful. Okay, so last thing here, remember I'm offering a totally free success call with me. So I've blocked off my calendar for today, but starting tomorrow after the masterclass, you are welcome to book a call. In the email is the link, and I would love to connect with you, see what you're working with, see how I can support you, maybe increase the awareness a little bit more. I'd love to connect with you. Okay, so some of you are already booking. So excited. I'm so excited to connect. And I'm so grateful you guys are all here. So have an incredible day. Remember looking for signs of land. Look for signs of land. Everything's working out. You're so welcome, Lynette. It's so good to see you on. Okay, you guys, have an amazing day, and we'll see you again tomorrow for day 3, part 3. It's a VIP day. Gonna be amazing. Okay. Yeah, you guys, amazing. Bye.